Good evening, 49er faithful. Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Sneakerhead Call-In Show. For those that are unaware, members of this channel are referred to as Sneakerheads because of the fact that your host is the one and the only Rob Schuh. And so it's only fitting to have Rob Schuh and Sneakerheads. If you want to become a member of the Sneakerhead community, all you have to do is join the channel. You head over to the page, you hit subscribe, and after you've subscribed, that little subscribe button will turn into a join button and give you that option. So anyone can become a sneakerhead at any time. And we have the link for Sneakerheads, the link to my community tab on my YouTube page, where there is a link to StreamYard, is in the chat right now. So follow that link if you are a sneakerhead and you want to be on the program. We got a couple of folks waiting there in the lobby right now. Just going to remind everybody that as of Monday, I'm flying out to Indianapolis. I am headed to the frickin' NFL Combine. Couldn't be more excited about that. Bring any and all of your Combine questions and suggestions and Combine crushes and folks that you want me to interview. Put all of that in the chat. Bring it with you as questions. I'm pretty damn excited about this process. I know I want to get into it, but I got to say hello to those that were here in the chat. Charles Thurman coming in with a question. At Rob, we need corners. No, a statement. It's a statement. At Rob, we need corners like Ronnie Lott. So corners that can hit like safeties. I'd be all for that. I don't think the NFL is all for that, though. They've changed their rules enough such that I think Ronnie Lott would have been fined and ejected from many of the games that he played in. So I agree. I like the idea of physical corners, although, honestly, I just don't think that the San Francisco 49ers prioritize the cornerback position all that much. So I'm just not sure they're going to invest much into it. A hard-hitting safety, on the other hand, could be on the horizon. Raphael 562 Niners, one of our sneakerheads, coming in just to say hello, saying hi, Rob, and everyone. And Luke Luna, as per usual, tattooing and listening for now, brother. Appreciate that. Always appreciate that. Alan coming in at Rob Schuh. Good evening. How's it going? You know, it's going pretty well. It's going well because of the fact that I'm going to the Combine, and I'm really freaking excited about that. Spy Nick Danger is also excited about that. Go, Rob. Yes, indeed. Doing the good work too, asking folks to hit the like button. Hey, it is the off season. I say it every show. So if you do enjoy the content, please do hit that like button. It helps me get my message out there. If you enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. All right, let's bring in that first guest. Ooh, BK from the Bay. What up, Rob? Had to bring that in just because I hit that button and it brought in that comment. But let's bring in our first guest. You know him, you love him, Sean 951 Niners. Sean, how you doing this fine Thursday afternoon?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Congratulations on the Combine. That's
thank you. I'm pretty freaking excited for it. You know, I don't actually know how I'm going to cover it 100%. I have some ideas. Obviously, I'm the type of guy that tends to brainstorm these things. And so I've got a bunch of, ideas of how I might be able to do it or potential, but I don't know what the layout is going to be like. It's my first event like this. So really, I'm just excited to be there in general, excited for the experience first and foremost.
Are there rules to live streaming inside the event, or do you not know any? I don't know if they gave you like a handbook as to what you're supposed to do.
Nothing yet, but I'm guessing that when I pick up the press credentials on Monday or Tuesday, that they'll probably give me a lay of the land. My thought is that they'll probably try to limit I don't know how they could limit live streaming, because my thought would be that they'd limit live streaming, that you might be able to do video, but how would they know if you're doing video or live streaming? So I guess we'll wait and see, but I would hope that I'll be able to live stream from there.
Yeah, I would think that. I mean, obviously it's going to be covered, I think, by NFL Network and such, but I think that would be great for yourself, at least while everyone's at the Combine, to live stream as much as possible, because ultimately you're conversing amongst your peers and NFL execs would probably take place outside of the Combine. at local eateries and bars and things of that nature. So
yeah,
get as much as you can in. I'll be tuned in. It'll be outstanding.
I am going to get considerable video. I'm going to finally do a little bit of, I mean, I hate to use the term because it sounds so contrite, but vlogging. I will be doing some vlogging while I'm there, some video blogging, and just shooting, B-roll. Like I'll be shooting the exterior of the complex there. I'll be trying to get shots of how the thing is organized. I'll be trying to get shots of famous folks that I see there. I think it's just going to be a ton of footage that I put together, and I got to find some way to put it onto the channel when it's not a live stream. So I may be doing more editing this week than I've done in a long time.
Well, I will say our next show following the combine should be completely run by yourself, having firsthand knowledge of everything there. I think everyone in the faithful that follows you, I think we would be thoroughly invested in your true opinion from actually seeing, these guys live. And like Bosa, for example, when he was there, he just looked like a beast. And
yeah.
You're like, I think he's going to be good. And then he turned out to be incredible. So it'd be interesting to get your firsthand take on that so that we can kind of start forming our questions around, your opinion.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see him with my own two eyes. And I'll be there with a couple of other folks that I know. And so my hope is to get some live shows going from Indianapolis, maybe from the hotel room. You got Jason Aponte is going to be there, Jordan Elliott, and I've got a couple of cameras and microphone setups that are portable that I'm going to bring with me. And the hope is maybe that we can get a panel going of a couple of guys that are watching live and really provide some insight that otherwise people aren't getting. Because I know the coverage on NFL Network skews towards later in the week where they're running the 40-yard dashes and they sort of do one for each day. But it'll start on Tuesday at the Combine. So it'll be interesting to see what isn't televised and what we get eyes on or video of that isn't shown on NFL Network, where you may only be able to get it tuning into one of our channels.
And all you got to do is go up to Kyle and ask him so we can just get our answer of what they're doing with Jimmy. And if you see John Lynch, ask him if he's going to be a commentator next year or if he's going to be our GM.
I will. What do you think of that? Because that was one of my questions that I wanted to bring up in this episode. And yes, first and foremost, I will ask that. I will also find out, like, hey, what's the skinny on the A-Rod situation? Just for you, just to see if there's anything in the works. I'll ask about that. But with the John Lynch situation and the rumors of, the shift that's happening for Troy Aikman going from Fox over to ESPN and thus freeing up a primetime spot on Fox and some of the names that were linked to it, and then two of the wild cards being Sean McVay and John Lynch. What do you think about those rumors? And more importantly, if you were John Lynch, would you consider it?
So I'll answer the last one last. So what do I think about that? I think McVay and Lynch are just smoke and mirrors. They're bringing him into it just to get everyone's ears perked up who's a GM in the league that may be an ex-player because they want to fill that role with an ex-player. So that's why Drew Brees is in consideration. That's also why Sean Payton is in consideration, not necessarily being the player part, but fresh out of coaching an outstanding career with the Saints. His perspective would be outstanding. The key is who you paired with, because it's not guaranteed it's Joe Buck either.
Right.
He may do something different. So I think if Joe Buck stays, it'll be a player. If Joe Buck doesn't, it may be Sean Payton or someone of their like to pair with a player. But I don't think Lynch. I think if it was one of those where Lynch is in the mix out of five guys, it's kind of like the Heisman. He's not going to win, but he's there at the table. In terms of Lynch, what would I do if I was him? Obviously, this is a completely just off the cuff because I don't know his situation. I don't know how happy he is in San Francisco or not. But from what I hear, the pay is $10 million plus for that role, and you only have to do an hour and a half with coaches before the game because he would be getting the primetime Sunday game on NFC.
Right.
And he's at home 4 out of the 7 days with no obligation. And he just preps for that 3.5 hours until playoffs. Then it gets a little bit heftier. But for $10 million a year, you owe them nothing other than good commentary. I mean, yeah, I guess if I didn't want to be a part of something lucrative that an entire fan base would put you in legend status if you can bring his quest for 6.
Right.
Especially after dealing with Balky and some of them in the past years.
Oh,
I really just think if he wants the easy road and he's ready to just kind of relax and kick it with family and such, kind of like Brady saying,
Right.
then sure, of course, I would take that. That's very lucrative. But ultimately, he's John Lynch. That guy is a competitor. I highly doubt at his age right now, coming out of the booth with a Super Bowl appearance, an NFC Championship appearance, a loaded roster, and a big decision to be made with your head coach Shanahan in this offseason to go for number 6. No. Give him that 2 years, run his contract out, then he'll maybe go back to TV. That would be my opinion.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. From the competitive standpoint, I could see John Lynch thinking to himself, no, I'm here with this group of men. I'm going to win a championship with this group of men, or at least I'm going to live out this current contract in attempting to fulfill that mission. And then if I fall short at that point, if the team devolves into something that doesn't seem like it's competing for a championship year in, year out, you could then bail at that point. I tend to agree that his name, Sean McVay's name, they get tossed in there to create excitement. They're chum in the water, right? It's throwing blood into the water and watching the sharks bubble up as the national media does. I tend to agree that it's mostly smoke and mirrors. And it would be tough for me to envision John Lynch walking away from the organization right now. But I also was perplexed by his choice of language when he talked about being committed to the organization right now. I wasn't perplexed by it. I was intrigued by it. I was intrigued by it because it seemed very specific. It seemed like the kind of language you layer in there when your intention is eventually to step away. So I do think it's just a matter of time before he looks for that cushier job with a little less stress on his plate.
Yeah, but I think I would say the same thing in his shoes. He's not the boss. He has a boss, Jed York.
Right.
Again, since we're not in the building and we don't know his real, true relationship there. I mean, remember, after last year and such, people are calling for, not people like the faithful, but media calling for, is Kyle really a good coach? Is John really pulling the right strings? They just went 6-10. What are they going to do this year? They still have Jimmy. Well, that all went away because we went to the NFC Championship and honestly should have won. So now what is there to talk about? Oh, well, hey, Lynch now has an opportunity to go back in the booth, such. His contract's 1 year less than Shanahan's. So
right.
If I'm him, I would say right now I am committed to this because it's very similar to a quarterback or someone else. Like, hey, I'm under contract. I'm here. This is my attention, etc. But at the end of the day, if you dangle a carrot big enough in front of me, I mean, c'est la vie if I care. Right? That's what I want to do, right?
Show me the money. That's the end result. All right, fantastic. Well, I think we've got more to talk about, but I do have the waiting room down there got to get to. I'm going to go down there. You want to hang out and do a little round table in a little bit once we spin through, see who's available for it?
I'm always here to help, bud. Absolutely. I'll be here.
Fantastic. All right. We will bring in Korean 49er E. Kim. E. Kim, I'm going to need that restaurant recommendation that you were talking about, man. How you doing?
St. Elmo's in Indianapolis.
Ooh, St. Elmo's. I don't even have a pen. I got my pen. I got no paper. But St. Elmo's. I'm going to remember that.
My brother had his pre-wedding dinner there with his family, so it's really good.
Ooh, that sounds tasty. And that's a steakhouse there in Indianapolis?
Yeah, it's not too far from whatever their stadium is called. Lucas Oil.
Lucas Oil. I've been looking it up because I had to find a hotel that was close by there. It is not a luxurious hotel that I will be staying in, but it's very, very close to the stadium. And that's what's important. This week is not about luxury. This week is about coverage.
I'm currently in Las Vegas, so hopefully the internet isn't total dog poop.
Oh, no, it's actually not that bad. It looks pretty good. What are you doing in Vegas?
Metallica show tomorrow at the Raider Stadium.
Right on. Allegiant. Nice.
Never know. I might go to that game next season, I should say, depending on what the ticket prices are and where I can find a good seat.
There you go. So, I am definitely going to that one. That will be my first adventure at Allegiant Stadium.
So, not too much to talk about, but my first question to you, Rob, is when you have a superstar quarterback like a Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers or such, what do you think the coach's first priority is?
When you have a superstar quarterback, what is the coach's first priority?
Yes.
I don't think it changes. I think that the coach's first priority is and always must be winning. And that when you bring in an all-star, that your second priority then becomes keeping that individual happy, because that individual's happiness and contentment within the team and the system contributes to your ability to win. That the ability to win is still paramount, but the managing of the superstar talent becomes second to that.
I kind of disagree with you, Rob.
Okay.
I got to keep my quarterback upright.
Ooh.
Because remember,
that's a great point.
Joe Burrow got smashed 70 times plus this season. Do you think he
Yes.
wants to go the Andrew Luck route and say, hey, I've got all this money. I don't want to take a beating for the rest of my career?
No.
For what? Because to me, let's say, I'm going to assume we're going to go with Trey because we don't know nothing concrete otherwise. So
yeah,
we're going to go with Trey and say, hey, what's the best friend for him? Outside of the running game and a good defense, we need to protect him because we can't have him get hurt like Jimmy sadly did early in seasons.
Right.
So if I was a Bill Belichick or a coach like that, when I had Tom Brady, I have to protect him because he's my meal ticket to try and make Super Bowls.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, I still would, if I were in charge of the organization, still have winning as number one. But I think in that being number one, the top priority of keeping your star quarterback healthy is right up there. So I tend to agree with your statement there.
So my thing is I don't think we'll be able to re-sign Lakin. You and I have talked about this before, just because those teams in the AFC have a lot more cap space and says, hey, Lakin, here's $14 million and a lot less taxes for you to pay if you would come to us and leave California.
Right.
So, especially if you go to Miami, you get no state income tax.
Yes,
in Florida.
That's very true.
So
that is a good savings.
Yes. And those teams want to protect their young quarterbacks and not have the next Andrew Luck situation. Possibly.
Most definitely. And certainly Mike McDaniel's familiarity with Lakin Tomlinson will create a bridge there. You would think he would at least explore conversations with Miami as far as going there as a free agent destination.
Yeah. So my other thing is I feel that the offensive line needs, I don't know if overhaul is the right word, but it definitely needs to be tweaked. Because Alex Mack could give a decision, but like you said, like how Joe Staley did, when they traded for Trent Williams,
right,
announced his retirement during the draft, and they trade a pick or two to get a player or a prospect to fill in for that position. But I don't see, to me, this team needs to get some cap space as soon as possible. And we know how to create $25.55 million.
Yes,
we all know it. We're not going to hammer that anymore, but that's an easy way to do it, because I believe they need to really upgrade the offensive line, because you don't know if McGlinchey's coming back.
Nope.
And we saw that Brunskill and Compton kind of became Swiss cheese towards the end.
Yeah, in the pass game for sure.
Yeah, and Alex Mack, appreciate what he did, but if he's thinking about taking that one step out the door and enjoying the rest of his life doing whatever he's going to do, you got to at least plan for that.
Yeah, I mean, you would hope that he's a little bit more informative with the organization than he's been with the fan base. You would hope that they have some inkling as to whether he's leaning towards coming back or retirement. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's completely unknown at this point. He says, hey, I just need 6-8 weeks to sort of decompress and take some time. But I think that the ideal is that the Niners know that going into free agency, so that they have all weapons at their disposal. It's almost a shame if they don't truly know at this point, and they don't know until they draft, because that takes away some of your ammunition. That takes away your ability to bring in a veteran center option that could potentially be a stopgap until you bring in a rookie that can develop within the system. So my hope would be that Alex Mack lets the 49ers know relatively soon, and then they would know about both the left guard spot and the center spot during free agency, and draft could dictate what they're doing at that right guard spot.
Yeah, I would like to get the Tampa Bay center, but I don't know how much he's going to be asking for.
Yeah.
Because I know it was with Tom Brady, but he played at a very high level for at least those 2 seasons. And to me, if we can get someone like that, I think that would be a boost, because I kind of hate saying this, but I wanted to let Trent Williams walk so I could get Corey Linsley last year. I mean, it is what it is now. I'm not unhappy with Trent Williams.
No, you can't be unhappy with that
exactly.
season. That would be crazy, right?
My thing with Corey Linsley is he was a little bit younger than Alex Mack.
Yeah.
So that's where I was kind of headed towards in that direction. At least you could say, hey, I have two solid pieces with Trent Williams and Corey Linsley.
Yeah, no doubt. It'll be interesting to see how they address, if they need to address that center position. Certainly offensive line is one of those position groups we've got to keep our eyes on this offseason. It's going to be a big one, no doubt.
Just before I let you go, I wouldn't mind the 49ers finding another cornerback like Mel Blount.
Ooh.
You remember the steel curtain cornerback? He was like 6'4", 215. They said every time he could jam the receivers and prevent them from going 10 yards down the field. Can't do that anymore since they made a rule based on him. So
you cannot. But that would be. I mean, I would love to get a big physical corner. I do think that would be a fantastic addition.
Yeah, so hopefully we could try to find another Mel Blount, but I know that's chance of that are not very high.
Yeah, right. That makes sense.
Or a Deion Sanders that could run a 4.2 and just be a shadow, just shadow the other receiver the entire time. Just say, hey, you're cool, do what you're doing.
That would be phenomenal. Yeah, I would love. I mean, I just don't think the Niners will invest in cornerback. They could prove us wrong, but so far under this regime, they've just shown an unwillingness to really put many assets into that position group.
Yeah, I also see Tart coming back because he's already better than Moore and Hufanga. To me, I can't rely on Moore and Hufanga next season to take us. But even if it's you sign Tart to a $3.5 million 1-year contract, I just do it. I know what I'm getting. I understand he may miss a game or two, but I know I'm going to be getting very solid play, and I can't expect him to have Jerry Rice hands. I know that he's a safety for a reason.
That's absolutely correct. I would totally be fine with bringing him back.
Yeah, because I don't see another player that's going to be asking for as much as he may be getting. I think if you get Justin Reed example, I think he'll ask for close to $10 million, and I don't think the team could afford that.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. That would be a steep contract, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, all right. Thanks, Rob. St. Elmo's.
Thank you. I wrote it down. I got it into the phone. Right. I didn't need a pen and paper. I just wrote it down in the phone. I am on it. St. Elmo's. I appreciate that.
Yep. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it.
Hey, man. Good talking with you.
Talk to you.
Later. All right. We are bringing in that Niner guy. You looking ready to come in? If not, we're going next to William Bennett. Oh, yeah. We got that Niner guy. There he is. What's up? How you doing, that Niner guy? Look at you. Are you driving? Do you need to pull over? We can't witness an accident happening here.
No. I actually just dropped off my grandpa at his house, and now
good.
Now I've stopped driving because I'm not a crazy person, and now just perfectly straight. Yeah, no on this chat driving, guys. Come on, that's dangerous.
No, that is very dangerous. Unless you're in a self-driving vehicle, and even then, it's not really self-driving. You've got to pay attention.
No, for sure.
Hold that thought, that Niner guy. I've got a super chat that I've been meaning to bring in for a while, so let me bring it in and get your opinion on it too, and then we'll go from there. Bruce coming in. Will Tom Brady or Rodgers come to the Niners? Bruce, I'm not willing to rule it out. I think it's a possibility, but I put that possibility at 5% or less. I think it's a 1 in 20 or a 1 in 100 chance. Maybe a 1 in 100 for each of them. When you combine it being either one coming to the Niners, maybe that, somehow rounds up to a 1 in 20 chance, about 5%. But I'm very doubtful. It could happen. The Niners certainly could make it work. I believe if Tom Brady wants to leave the Buccaneers, that he will be able to force his way out of there, either gently or not so gently. Rodgers, I'm not so sure. I think he probably stays in Green Bay. The language that just came out from the exec there talking about, no, I didn't promise Rodgers he could leave via trade last offseason, sort of makes it seem to me like he's sticking around. That Niner guy, what do you think of any possibility that brings one of those two quarterbacks to San Francisco?
I think 5% is too high. I think it's closer to 0.05%. I mean, come on.
I think you might be right.
Guys. Yeah, let's think about it. Tom's now making movies with Jane Fonda. This is happening for better or worse. It's happening. You know, will I see it? Probably not, but it's gonna happen. And Aaron, it sounds like he's staying put, or there's a lot of things that has to happen for that to happen. One, Tom or Aaron have to say specifically, I will only play for the 49ers or I'll retire.
Exactly.
That's
force their way into that scenario.
So that's scenario one for any of this to happen. The second part is, okay, what kind of package the 49ers trade? And would the 49ers even do that? Because if you're trading for Aaron Rodgers, you don't have first round picks for the next 2 years. So you're adding in your one from 2 years down the road from this draft, because realistically, you got to put some sort of first round pick in there. You're putting in Trey Lance, whatever compensation you can get for Jimmy Garoppolo, which I doubt is right, as it's sounding like it's getting less and less by the market as it
does sound that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was the one thing I want to talk about, but we'll get to that after. But there was another thing. What was it? And then for Aaron, it's about the cap. The 49ers are going to hit with a $45 million cap hit.
Right.
So you're looking at there's a discussion right now. Is Laken Tomlinson gone? Is Jaquiski Tartt gone? Then it becomes they are gone, and now you have to fill 2 guard positions most likely, because Brunskill is probably gone, Compton's probably gone. When you sign a guy like that, it's all those extra pieces on what the 49ers have done over the last few years, is having that depth. Those guys are gone, or you're restructuring everyone who's on your team and just kicking the can down the road. It's one or the other. And that's why I don't think it's plausible. Now, Tom, on the other hand, he would take less money. But again, I think this is a family retirement, not a Tom Brady retirement. It's not 100% his decision.
That makes sense to me. And you have to listen to your family, right? I mean, happy wife, happy life type of a stance on it. Yeah, I think that if your family is tired of you being gone most of the year and being completely absorbed in the world of the NFL, I could see that weighing on a person's soul.
I mean, yeah, for Tom Brady, it's like, what else do you have to do? Do you have to dig up the bones of every former NFL player, play them in a game and beat them to say you're the best? Like, what else is there for him to do? Like this last season, he didn't win the Super Bowl, but he's way ahead of all the passing records now. He has basically all the major ones that matter. So, I mean, I think that's part of the reason why he wanted to have the longevity, is get those records to say no question he was number one, because he's competitive as hell. That's the one thing about Tom Brady that I respect. And no matter what, when you're that talented, but you're also that competitive, and it sparks you for years and years. But I mean, you can't be that competitive and forever. It can't last forever. And the Bucks in the playoffs, even when they beat the Eagles, they just looked deflated. Tom even looked a little deflated, and he had a great season, Tom Brady.
A great
he had a
season.
Phenomenal season. Yeah, he had a phenomenal season at 44. But that's just it. It's just, can you keep doing it? Can you keep that level of intensity? I mean, I don't think Tom wants to be known as this old guy walking around football fields yelling at people forever. He's literally turning into Bill Belichick. You know, I don't think Tom wants that. He's super wealthy. Go play golf at all your country clubs. Go hang out with your family.
It. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
The only thing I can wrap my head around that would make it palatable for Tom would be this idea of a poetic ending to a poetic career, right? The ribbon on an otherwise illustrious career, to be able to walk out on a high note for the team that he grew up playing for. It would be a picture perfect storybook ending. But I agree, the likelihood of it is near nil. And we didn't even bring up the fact that both of those situations leave considerable dead money for the teams in question, for both Green Bay and Tampa Bay. So there are a lot of obstacles that stand in the way of this happening right now. And it seems more just that the national narrative understands how obsessed our fan base is with the quarterback position, and they're playing on it. They are absolutely playing on it and just hitting us with trickle news after trickle news. And it just a little comes out. It's meaningless, but it gets us started talking about it again, because you have to, right? People are excited about it. People are curious about it. People are asking about it. So you have to talk about it. But I agree. To me, it's basically a nothing burger.
Yeah, and I understand where the context comes from this. Tom, going back even to when Tom Brady was drafted, his dad was openly vocal that the 49ers should have drafted him. Like,
yeah.
So like sort of context, my grandparents go to the same church as Tom Brady's parents. And so like it was a very vocal thing in 2001 when he was a nobody before going into the 2001 season. Like, man, he really wanted to come to the Niners, this and that. And Tom's dad has never held back on that. He's like continually through his lifetime talked about it.
I wouldn't hold back either if it were my son. So
I know I wouldn't either. But so that's one thing. And also Aaron Rodgers, obviously 05 draft. I get it. Niners made a mistake there. Yeah. Okay. Last offseason, the Niners did. We all know that Kyle called to see if he was available.
Yep.
So I understand the context of it all. Like there are reasons why to think the 49ers could make a move like that. Yes. It's not in the cards. It's not in the cards. And that's okay. Stick to the plan. Go with the kid.
Yeah, because guess what? The kid is fantastic, right? I mean, I like Johnny Robinson's comment here in the chat. Lance is good enough. Yes, 1,000% yes. I am very excited about moving on to the young second-year player in Trey Lance. I was very excited to draft him. Don't make me go get the envelope that I wrote before the draft where I put my pick of Trey Lance in that envelope. I still have video evidence of it being on the channel before the draft, right? I am on board the Lance train 1,000%. I got my ticket. I'm taking the ride. And if one of these two become available, you have to explore it. But as we just got done saying, that is highly, highly unlikely. So let's transition to another topic. What was the topic? What was the one you said you wanted to discuss a little bit?
Let's talk about our favorite guy, Jimmy, and how all this stuff the Niners have been doing. Adam Peters setting fake Twitter accounts out that the 49ers teams could justify a first round pick. I'm joking, but let's talk about that, right? Because I mean that had to have been from either Don Yee or someone in the 49ers going as anonymous executive,
right? Right.
And so now I think reality's hitting as teams are watching tape and saying, okay, I'm not trading a first round pick for this guy. And I understand that because you know what, as much as I want the 49ers to get a first round pick for Jimmy, you have to understand, I think a lot of the fans maybe don't fully understand this. These GMs like their jobs. They don't want to hitch their wagon to the Jimmy Garoppolo wagon where he could get hurt in the first or couple of weeks of the season. You go 4-13 and you lose your job. Yeah. There's a huge possibility that's happening. And I've heard a lot. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk about like, oh, when Jimmy plays, he goes to the NFC Championship game. And I quickly put my hand and go, okay, what happens when he doesn't play? Because he doesn't play a lot. And that's a thing that's really hard for trading Jimmy. And that's why I'm afraid he's going to get cut. Because I honestly believe that teams are going to hardball the 49ers into cutting him.
Oof.
It's a realistic option. Is it likely? Maybe not as likely as I think. But it is possible. I mean, it sounds like the market's pretty cool on him, and I understand if I was a coach or an executive, because if I'm Washington, you hear it right now. They've already sent trades in for Aaron Rodgers. They've already contacted Seattle. All these other teams are going to go after the bigger fish. It sounds like Deshaun Watson's nothing's getting cleared up there anytime soon, so that's good for the Jimmy market. It's just there's a lot more going on with this than people will tend to realize. And all John Lynch's friends in the media talking about him. It's funny how Fox loves Jimmy Garoppolo, but other networks are actually, no, it's not true. ESPN, Booger thinks Jimmy's much better than Trey. So that's exciting, right? Booger
That's very exciting. Booger has some interesting takes on things. That's for sure.
When you were an announcer for 2 years for Monday Night Football, half announcer, and there's a YouTube tape 7 minutes long of all your bad takes on there. Yeah. Yeah, Booger.
It's rough. It's rough. He became a punching bag pretty quickly for some of those takes that he had. To me, this conversation becomes a little bit of noise coming from each side. To me, that's what I'm seeing right now. I'm seeing the stories being put out quite clearly, as you indicate, and I agree, by the 49ers organization of, there's a lot of rumors about Jimmy Garoppolo being worth a first-round pick. He's a very exciting prospect. And then you have the other side, who are the 5 or 6 teams that probably are legitimately somewhat interested in Jimmy Garoppolo. And they're putting out stories that are like, well, Jimmy's value isn't quite as high as most people think it is. And these two competing narratives come together. My thought is that we still end up at a very reasonable place where Jimmy gets traded. To me, there's just no way he gets cut. Some team swoops in at some point and says, oh, you guys think you're going to wait until he's cut? We'll offer a 3rd rounder. Boom, deal done. Our fan base isn't going to be upset about offering a 3rd rounder. If the Niners' fear is they have to cut him, they'll gladly accept the 3rd rounder. So to me, there's enough middle ground that he will get traded. But it is confusing to truly clear away all the smoke and all the noise and try to understand what his actual value is at this point. It's very hard to suss that out.
No, because it's hard because the Niners have won a lot with him,
Yes.
but he's been here 5 years and only played 2.5.
Right.
You know, that's the hard part of trading a guy who's either perpetually injured and talented, because he's not a terrible quarterback. I'm not a Jimmy Garoppolo football fan. You know, I thought he played better in 19 than he got credit for. I thought he didn't play particularly well this year. And, there's the middle line of like, Jimmy's a solid NFL quarterback. But if you're going to give up high assets for a guy who gets hurt a lot, there's a good chance that it's not going to work out and you're going to get fired. So that's the middle ground that I think the Niners are trying to navigate. And I still stick to, I think you get a 2 by trading Jimmy and one of your 3s. I think that's the only way. I think that's the only way you get the value you want, while also saying, "Hey, we just moved up almost 60 picks in the draft, right? Because our comp pick is 102. Our 3rd round
end of the round.
End of the round. So it's a way to justify it, saying, "Hey, we got more value. We got up in the draft. We have ammo to move into the 1st round if we want to." Or, as I think they might do, they might trade back and get more picks for next season as well. So there's a way. There's a few ways to do it. I trust that they're going to get something for him, but there is a scenario where Jimmy gets cut, and I think that's something that I think we talked about that a lot in the beginning of the season when they were 3-5 and things were looking great. But there's a situation where it does happen, and I'm a little scared the Niners kind of overplay their hand.
I agree that there is. To me, though, it's about the same percentage of Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady coming. That it's a possibility. Yeah. There's no question. There's a possibility could happen. But again, to me, some team will secure the rights to Jimmy Garoppolo by giving up a draft pick. And if the Niners fear that they're going to have to cut him, they will drop that price precipitously, and eventually supply meets demand, and somebody's willing to tap in and pay up for Jimmy Garoppolo. But I agree that in a case where the Niners get 0 trade offers, they will cut him before the deadline. I do agree with that. I do not think, to me, the percentage chance of him being back with the Niners is nearly non-existent. It's still there because, sure, something could happen. Something weird could happen. But it's like 0.000001. So I agree that if they don't get the trade offer, they probably will cut him.
Well, the other thing, too, is Jimmy doesn't want to be here anymore.
You could tell he was done.
Yeah, he's done. I think Jimmy's a little. He's not. I don't think Jimmy's a bad guy. I want to preface. I genuinely think if you met Jimmy Garoppolo in a bar, he'd buy you a beer or two. He'd probably shoot the crap with him, and he'd be probably really cool.
Yep.
But he comes off super arrogant when it comes to football, and I personally, as a fan, am over it. I think that was the one thing for me this year that kind of pushed me off the ledge with him, just because there were so many games where he didn't play well, and the Niners lost, not just because of him. There's other reasons, but he didn't help them pull out a game that was close. And he just kind of like, oh, yeah, whatever. It is what it is, It's like, dude, you got to be – no, man, you got to see it. Like, Trey played 2 games, and even one game he lost. Anything that was slightly wrong goes, oh, it's on me. I got to be better. Jimmy, nah, not once. In a season full of being
I can see that rubbing you the way, no doubt.
Yeah. It's something that's bothered me.
Well, thankfully, I think in most scenarios, the guy who's bothering you is going out that door. that it is time to move on. I got to bring in William Bennett, but I don't know if you're still trying to make it home or whether you're going to be hanging out in the car, but I'm going to try to do the roundtable thing at the end with anybody who sticks around. So if you're able to call back in or if you're still parked, I'll bring you back in.
Sounds good. I'm definitely going to try and make the roundtable. That was fun last week.
Fantastic. All right. I'm going to bring in William Bennett. It's great seeing you. If you don't make it back in, always a pleasure.
See you, Rob.
All right. William Bennett bringing you bringing you into the stream. William, what's good, man? How you doing? Cheers, brother.
Hey, Niners faithful. Hey, Rob, how you doing, my guy? Hey,
I'm doing real good, man. I am very pumped about next week. I'm a little, if I'm real honest about it, I'm a little nervous. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do, and the unknown is a little bit fearful for me, but I don't care. Like I'm going, and I'm gonna make the best of it. So yeah, I'm excited.
hey, the best advice I've ever heard when you're nervous and you don't know what to do, be yourself.
That's
Be
great
that
advice.
be Rob Schuh. That's what got you there. That's what's gonna have you back there. You hear what I'm saying? You're a hell of a guy with great content, and you're starting to shine, man. Just embrace it. Embrace your blessings.
I appreciate that, William. I appreciate that a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah, I'm really happy for you, man, that you're going to the column, and I couldn't imagine anybody better deserving. Honestly, you're a good dude.
Thanks, William.
How's your week been?
You know, it's been pretty good. We had a weird weather spell here. So like early spring hit, you know, it was like nice and warm. All the little crocuses started to pop out of the ground. Some of the tulips started to come up. And then this week set in and it was like, no, I'm sorry. It's still February and the temperature dipped. And I wake up this morning, there's freaking snow on the ground. I was like, I mean, first of all, it barely snows here in Portland at all. Like maybe once a year, maybe twice. We already had our dusting. And again, I thought like we were into an early spring and it's been chilly. So I was out for my my jog today and you know, got a little frostbite on the nose. Like it was good. It's interesting to get that weather fluctuating like that. But the sun was out. So you can't complain about that. I'll take sun and cold over warm and rain at this time of year.
Hey, well, my birthday is in April, so I guess I'm kind of a spring baby. So, you know, I like that spring, fall. You can wear anything you want to wear weather.
Nice. Yes,
but
what's the weather like in DC right now? Are you guys in the middle of a cold streak too?
The weather's been up and down. It's been cold, then it's been like really windy, a little bit of rainy. But I think like a day or two ago, we got like a 70-degree day. People lost their mind. Everybody was out washing cars. And then today is like 40, 40 and raining.
Oh man!
So this weekend I hear is
like you get that one warm day and you go by the park and you just see skin everywhere. Everybody's in shorts, everybody's in bathing suits, everybody's lying on their towel getting sun. Like they're like they lost their damn mind.
Hey man, but you know, spring is peeking its head as slowly but surely.
Yes, slowly but surely.
But on to the Niners. I've been following some content through the week and hearing some things, and I like to say this because and this is just my opinion, but I would like for people to just get over Aaron Rodgers, get over Tom Brady. I do not want Aaron Rodgers here.
Yeah, I hear you. I've been talking about it a lot, and I'm starting to reach my fill.
He's off the rails right now. Would you really want to bring that into our 49ers locker room right now? With the stage he in, maybe a couple of seasons ago, but where his head is at now, nobody knows whether he's coming or going, what he's coming to bring. You just don't know what he's maybe be missing a few therapy sessions right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's
going
really
through these weird cleanses, and I looked up what that is, the cleanse he talked about, and it is, you know, eating a bunch of ghee, a bunch of vomiting, a bunch of colon cleanse. It is not a pleasant sounding experience.
Hey, and whatever's going on with him must be going on with him personally, because And this is just my opinion. I don't know Aaron Rodgers' life. I don't live that
Sure,
rich.
sure.
But him and his fiance, longtime fiance, broke up.
Yeah.
It's the same, and he just lost a big playoff game. It just seems like a lot going on with Aaron Rodgers right now, and I
There
don't think
is.
we want that here in our organization right now in this Super Bowl window. Second of all, can we get over Tom Brady? I mean, can we just take a deep woo sigh on that? I mean, collectively, because I mean, come on. Right now,
Yes.
I understand everybody was like, "Oh, if Tom Brady comes here, it's a guaranteed Super Bowl." What guarantees a Super Bowl? What about Tom Brady is gonna guarantee our Super Bowl? You gotta
Nothing.
understand. Tom Brady went to a team that had a nice defense,
Yep.
but the offense he brought along with him. And Bruce Arians at that time was so hard up for a Super Bowl that he basically closed his playbook and let Tom run the show.
Mm.
Um, Coming here, him or Aaron Rodgers is not gonna follow Kyle Shanahan's playbook. They're
Yeah.
not. They're just
There
not.
would be some adjustments, that's for sure.
I mean, you gotta understand something. We're a run first team that are heavily play action. Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers they like having the ball. I doubt I see any of them most of the time just handing the ball off. They're not gonna do that. That's not in their that's just not in their cup of tea. They're used to having the ball, calling the shots, making the plays. Simple as
Right.
that. It's simple as that. So let's just let Tom Brady go off and shoot his 80s movie or whatever he's doing. Spend time with his kids and Gabrielle because his kids are getting older. He's like 44. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
for
He's gonna
sure.
miss
He
out
needs
on
that
all
family
that time.
time.
Yeah,
All
he's
right.
gonna
So
miss out on
I,
that.
I want to bring something in, not to interrupt, but I have
Sure.
to because this is my best friend has put a comment in the chat. So I got to bring it in
Sure.
because Mark Hicks is in the building and it's relevant to our conversation. So if we block out Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, as you are suggesting, William, Mark Hicks coming in here at Rob is, by the way, this is Steelers fan. Only reason he's listening to this program is because his boy is the dude hosting it.
No,
But,
my third
it's a
cousin is
legitimate
Franco
question, I'm
Harris.
sure. What's that?
My third cousin is Franco Harris.
Oh, nice. Man. That's a dope player. Man, that's a good connection.
Yeah.
All right. So
yeah.
Mark probably is friends with you already right now because of that fact. But he says, at Rob, is Trey Lance playoff bound in his first year, or does it take a few building years? I'll give my answer first, but then I'm interested to hear
Sure.
yours as well, William.
Sure.
Yes. Trey Lance is playoff bound in his first year. If Trey Lance doesn't make it to the playoffs with this team, there will be a lot of hubbub amongst 49er faithful. And it's because of the quality of this roster, the players on offense, the players on defense, the core to this team. Anytime that you have a top five at that position at so many critical spots, you look at left tackle, Trent Williams, I would argue the best left tackle in the league. Kyle Juszczyk, I would argue the best fullback in the league. Deebo Samuel, I would argue one of the top three receivers in the league after the season that he just had last year. Fred Warner, I would argue one of the top three middle linebackers in the league. Nick Bosa, I would argue one of the top three edge rushers in the league. So when you go through George Kittle, one of the top three tight ends in the league, if not the top one, when you consider blocking ability, when you can list off all of those key positions, to me, the team around Trey is stacked enough that anything less than a playoff appearance would be a bit of a letdown. William, what are your thoughts on it?
I totally agree with you. Yes, first year Trey Lance is playoff ready with the ability and the football IQ he has. I definitely believe he can get this team to a playoff, not only with the supporting cast. I mean, even and I've said this before, Trey Lance on his growing pains is like Jimmy Garoppolo's best year. You gotta understand something. the things that we seen Jimmy not be able to do, like Jimmy threw balls because he was flustered. He had no other idea of what to do. So he panicked. Trey, when he gets in a situation where he doesn't know what to do, he has his legs. So
Yes.
he still have a chance to bust that play wide open. You hear what I'm saying? So he doesn't necessarily have to throw and make these throws that Jimmy always that everybody's so upset with Jimmy about. Trey
Yes.
Lance has that extra factor to make another decision.
And I would add to that he's not like some other rookie quarterbacks where he bails too quickly with his legs. He's great at attempting to hang in the pocket and then using the legs at the end. At least from what I've seen, small sample size, but I agree. He's got the legs as a weapon, but he doesn't default to them. He's a pocket passer first, which is what you need in Shanahan's offense.
Right. I think a lot of people don't understand. Trey Lance gave up a lot. He gave up a chance to go play with a lot of top schools to be a quarterback.
He did.
So I doubt that he's gonna get to the NFL and now all of a sudden he wants to be a runner. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
His first option is to throw that ball, but he knows, hey, and as the reps he get, when it's time to go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but it is not his first option to run. If
It's
you
not.
look at,
And he's great in the pocket too. When you go back and watch some of those clips of the Texans game in particular, man, he really glides around in the pocket, still eyes downfield in a way that you don't see from Jimmy Garoppolo. When a play is extended in that fashion for Jimmy Garoppolo, it usually ends badly. It usually ends with a sack or a strip fumble. With Trey, you saw him bouncing around, sliding in the pocket, stepping up the ladder, and then completing some passes downfield. So to me, again, everything lines up with what you're saying.
this is something that, and I look at these things because I was in ROTC Navy and all of that.
Nice.
And the one thing that we was taught was when you enter a building or you enter any facility, always learn where your exits are. If you look at when Trey Lance is in the pocket, he's looking for the pass, but if you notice when he moves around that pocket, he's looking for the exit, stage left or stage right. He knows, okay, my window has passed, I need to go. With Jimmy, if you notice, people would be grabbing on Jimmy, not taking nothing from Jimmy. I appreciate everything he's done for us, but if you notice, when Jimmy gets grabbed, Jimmy will move around in the pocket. But this is what Jimmy does that just flushes me all the time. He goes right back to the same spot that he got grabbed at. He makes no move to go outside that pocket. He will move around and you like, oh, Jimmy is about to run. And then boom, he goes right back and set. That's why when Jimmy makes a run, it is so shocking to people because he just goes back and resets. And I'm like, you just had two guys grab onto your jersey. It's time to go, Jimmy. It's time to get on the bus. But another thing that I wanted to bring up was, and this is just a tinfoil hat scenario, and I know it probably won't happen, but just I try to think outside the box because I do IT. The guy, I can't remember his name. What is it? The receiver that played with Trey Lance in North Dakota. What is his name? Watkins. Now, he's a big boy. He's a big receiver.
Yeah.
Now, we're about to pay Debo all this money. And we've been using Debo as a wide back. And everybody was like, oh, Debo's so quick and everything but we don't want to give Debo that type of money and keep putting him in those situations. We were really doing that with Debo because we had limited options.
That's true. We were forced into that scenario. Yeah.
I believe that we could get that the 49ers could
Sorry,
get.
I keep saying Watkins, but it is Watson, and I got to correct myself. But I just wanted to correct myself there. Please continue, William.
Yeah, I believe that if we let go a few people, and I know Grant will kill me on this, but like Dwelly, Warner, a couple of other, people who we haven't already really haven't been using.
Yeah, you
I
mean
believe
Charlie Warner, not Fred Warner, correct? You're
no,
talking the tight
no,
end.
Charlie
Yeah.
Warner. And we got Watkins, or I believe we could bring him in not as a wide receiver, but because of his side, we can turn him into another tight end and
That
use
would be
him in that
interesting.
role. And use him in that role that we use Debo as a wide back. He's a big boy who plays already a wide back style. You feel what I'm saying? That would
I like
free up
this creative
Debo.
thinking.
That would free up Debo to get back to what we were using him for in 2019, running deep, running pass routes.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
would,
Less
it would
less as
cause
a running back, more as a wide receiver.
exactly. I think that would cause such a confusion in the league. They're like, oh, okay, they're looking at, but then we got Warner. He's shifting with Debo and actually doing those wide backs.
How would you feel about bringing in Cordarrelle Patterson if the Niners couldn't get the rookie, or I guess they'd make the deal for Patterson first, but would you target Cordarrelle Patterson to take some of that weight off of Debo as well, to have another multifaceted wide receiver who can be another wide back within the system?
We have to. I
So
like
one
Ross
way or the other,
Dwelly,
you want to address
but
it one way or the other.
yes, we can't. This I always tell people, and I had to tell a Ravens fan this because he's a Lamar fanatic.
Sure.
Oh, I'm like, you gotta understand something. You get 1 year to do that stuff before people have film on it and everybody's watching it.
Yeah.
After that, now people are coached up and they're looking for it.
Yeah. You got
One
to add
thing
a
when
wrinkle after that.
right. And I doubt using Debo the same way this upcoming season, the way we used him in 2021, is going to be as successful.
I think you're onto something there.
So yes, we can use him like that, but the consistency that we were using him before is just gone. That's why you see the Rams were so willing to commit to it.
Yeah.
To stopping the run. They was like, if you see Debo back there, if you see Mitchell back there, I don't care. Look who's the quarterback.
Yeah, hit him.
Go for the running back. I don't care what happens down the field. We're just gonna have to trust in Ramsey and trust in Waddle and trust in our secondary, but do not let them beat us on the ground.
Yeah. I agree, and I think Stephon James hit what I was thinking. Is the same thing happened to Cap? The same thing happened to Robert Griffin III. Like, you see these anomalies with a player whose style is something the NFL hasn't seen in a while or ever before, and they struggle. They can't cover it. They don't know what to do with it. But it just takes time to catch up. It just takes that game film. It just takes a full year with then an offseason to study that wrinkle. And typically defenses do catch up.
Yeah.
And if you're unable to evolve in some way, then you're going to get stopped.
Yeah. I mean, you got to evolve.
Yeah.
You got to evolve. You have to be able to, you can't come with the same look. You have too many smart people. You have too many college kids that are watching you and like, oh, that's not going to work on me, because you got to realize every year you got somebody faster and bigger coming in the NFL just trying to make a name off you.
So true.
So I think we just got to add a wrinkle to that. But hey, like William, I said,
I got to get down to Waruna real quick, but can you hang out for a minute to do a little roundtable in just a few?
Sure can.
William, I love it. All right, we're going to get the roundtable going in a little bit, but right now I'm just going to bring in Waruna, and then we'll close out on this roundtable. I got a hard out today, a little before 6:30, so we're going to have to make that happen. But we got Waruna coming in the thread. No Border Sports. By the way, I believe there is now a No Border Sports page, right? This No Border Sports exists as a sports broadcasting signal, network, whatever you want to call it.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're
for the
very welcome.
interaction.
Absolutely. It is you and Crypto Ryan. Is that correct?
Right. Yes, it's a
Very
collaboration.
cool. Very cool. Congratulations first and foremost on that, Waruna.
Thank you again.
Oh, you're very welcome.
So how are you doing?
You know, I'm doing good. I'm very amped up about going to the combine. And William got me fired up by, I was honest in saying that I am nervous about it. I am unsure of what I'm going to do. I'm unsure of exactly how I'm going to cover it. I don't know what type of interest there's going to be. And I fully, wholeheartedly believe in William's advice, which is just be me, just do me, do what I do and bring it to the people as I do, attempt to convey what I'm seeing, what I'm experiencing. And the people will let me know what they think of it. That's for sure. So I'm excited, man. It's going to be a fun week there. Get to see Jason Aponte, Jordan Elliott. I know I saw on Twitter they're going to be watching reruns of Curb Your Enthusiasm. So I'm just going to crash that party and show up at their Airbnb and bring some sodas and pizza maybe.
So we'll be waiting to hear that. So about the quarterback controversy.
Yes.
Just coming before your show, before calling into your show like 2 hours ago, I tweeted out. So the in terms of interaction, the best tweet I did my entire Twitter career. So it's right now it has like 320 likes, 42 retweets, right? So listen to this. So this was my idea. Simple solution for quarterback.
By the way, let me preface this by saying I'm one of those likes. I have seen this tweet and I freaking love it. So please let me set it up this way. Waruna has figured out the freaking combination to unlock the quarterback position for San Francisco. It's a step-by-step process that he's going to suggest for us now. Waruna, please continue.
Yes. So first step, keep Jimmy Garoppolo.
Keep Jimmy Garoppolo. Genius. Keep Jimmy. Number two,
get Tom Brady.
Get Tom Brady. I'm loving the plan so far, Waruna. Step 2, get Tom Brady. Step 3,
trade Trey Lance for Aaron Rodgers with Green Bay.
Boom. Loaded quarterback room. Jimmy Garoppolo, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. The rookie's gone. And the last step?
Last step, start Jimmy and let Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady to learn.
I like it because to me, the first thing that jumped out about the comedy of that statement is it basically points out the absurdity of Trey Lance sort of waiting and watching and learning behind others. That it kind of points out the irony of that situation. I love it. I thought it was very lighthearted, well played. That's an excellent tweet.
Thank you. I just thought we have to make everyone happy. So I think this is the best.
Bring in all of the big names. Although I'm sure there were some people on Twitter that either took it seriously or even if they took it as a joke, took it as offense for Trey Lance. So I'm sure there was some anger in response to it, but I love it. I absolutely love it.
So other than that, keeping aside this quarterback controversy, what do you think about other players in terms of offensive line? There's one specific player that I want to discuss with you, Alex Mack. If he leaves, yes, there would be options, but will that make a void in leadership? Because when Joe Staley left, we had a void in leadership. Trent Williams is a great player, but I don't think he provides the leadership as the way Joe Staley used to do for 49ers. So
I would have agreed with you last season. I saw a maturation of Trent Williams throughout last year that I think has cemented him as the sort of unquestioned leader of that offensive line group. When he and Debo were coming out of the tunnel, blasting the music, celebrating toward the end of the season into the playoffs, all of the linemen going to Silverback, the documentary that Trent Williams put out, and the fact that he hosted that. And then he began to do more and more interviews after that. What I saw from Trent Williams, particularly in the playoffs, was a leader coming into his own. And so I agree that a loss of Alex Mack, a 36-year-old intelligent center, veteran in the league, that would be a void in leadership to some extent. But I think my stance would be that Trent Williams would step into that void and fill it.
So on that, I have another follow-up question. During the Arizona game that Trey Lance played, I think Rich Madrid pointed this out. There was some plays that we saw offensive line got busted. It was actually due to the fact that not offensive line was made some mistakes on the assignments, but Trey Lance did not call the adjustments based on the what defense did. So it was quarterback's responsibility to make sure that offensive line makes that adjustment. So what I thought is, when you have guy like Alex Mack, whatever they are the leaders, then you can what you call delegate that responsibility to the offensive lineman and let Trey Lance just focus on his job. So do you think that, especially in this year, if Trey Lance to success, Trent Williams can do that job, maybe take that additional responsibility. Okay, Trey, we will take care of you, as well as we will make whatever the adjustments that need to be, so you can just focus on what you have to do as a quarterback.
I guess my hope would be that they wouldn't need to, that after a full year in the system, that Trey Lance would be comfortable enough. He strikes me as a guy who's relentless in his pursuit of perfection, someone who, is constantly preparing. And so my thought is that's what he was doing throughout this entire year. Steve Young talked about, can you improve while sitting on the bench? He said, well, yes, you can if you're the type that treats preparation as if you're going to be starting anyway. He referenced Nick Mullins in his ability to do that. There were always those stories about Nick actually going out onto the field and practicing the coverages, practicing the calls, practicing the plays. And I imagine, save for that exercise of going out there and role playing it, I imagine Trey is very similar in that respect. And everything that I've seen about him shows me a very capable, intelligent individual in that right. So I would hope he'd be ready for it. But if not, I trust in Shanahan to explore creative ways like this that would allow for one of the linemen to make the calls at the line of scrimmage.
Yes. And there's one thing I was listening, you discussed about the realistic expectation for Trey Lance being the starter. The playoff chances. I would hold my expectations, not because I doubt Trey Lance, but I think given the schedule that we are going to play, especially the AFC West, we might be in the range of 8 to 10 wins, and possibly there will be a chance of missing playoffs. Do you disagree with that, or how do you see? I know it's pretty early because we don't know what's going to happen, who is going to be on the offensive line,
Exactly.
the defenses and everything, but what is your rough thought on that?
My early thoughts when I look at the schedule is it presents itself to me as it stands right now. Neither teams, on the hypothetical being fully cemented. You don't know what the Niners are going to look like. You don't know what their opponents are fully going to look like. But as I look at those teams and who they were last year, I see a pretty good schedule for the 49ers. I see a chance with the Niners going 10, 11, even 12 wins with Trey Lance if he can play at or above the level that Jimmy was able to play at. And statistically speaking, there are certainly some unknown factors of leadership and calls at the line of scrimmage, familiarity with the offense for Jimmy Garoppolo. But purely statistical year, I didn't find it to be that compelling of a statistical season at its close. And you look at some of these physically gifted athletes similar to Trey and what they were able to do in their earlier seasons. And it strikes me that Trey will be capable of coming close to, if not surpassing, statistically what Jimmy was able to do in this season. And to me, that should net the 49ers 11 plus wins.
Okay. Yeah. I would be happy to see that because I was
and we will have to revisit this question many times as well. But Troy, fellow Sneakerhead, is with me. 10 or 11 wins if we have no injury. That's a key one. You do have to list that out. If we stay healthy like we did this season, that would be fantastic. Sir Juju's a little more optimistic, 21-0. Niners making history. So that would be fantastic.
Okay.
It would be hard to have 21 games. If you're undefeated, you're probably
Yes.
getting that first round bye. If you're
Probably,
undefeated,
yes.
you're probably
Yes.
so it's probably 20-0. The Niners making history.
Yes. So that's all I wanted to discuss with you today about how it's going to be the next season. It's too early. Again, congratulations for the combines and
I appreciate it. Yeah, no, email me if you come up with any combine crushes, combine questions, people that you want interviewed. I am looking for that. Anyone that has those, email me at 49ersmailbag@gmail.com. I will be there in Indianapolis. I will be attempting to flag down anybody who pays attention to me. I went, listen to this, Waruna, you'll like this. So I thought to myself, you gotta dress the part. You gotta look the part. And so I went to Nordstrom here in Portland to get some fresh duds so that, Rob Schuh's got his gleam on a little bit, right? I got my shine on. And so I walk in and the security guard that I'm walking by flags me down. He's like, "Hey, dude, do you have a YouTube stream channel?" And I was like, wait a minute. No freaking way did I just come in here to buy clothes for the combine and the security guard at Nordstrom flags me down to let me know he subscribes to my channel. So it was just a positive interaction and a great sign that, that I was doing the right thing and getting dapper for the combine. It's going to be primo, my friend.
Yes. So we are hoping to see that.
Very cool. All right. Well, hey, Waruna, if one of these times you want to stick around for the roundtable, you let me know. Right now, I got my three guys, Sean 951, William Bennett, and that Niner guy to round out. But I think that you might enjoy that as well in the future.
Sure. I'll let you know in advance.
Fantastic. All right, Waruna, thank you for calling in. Always appreciate it. You too, my friend. All right. We are bringing in the crew. We are going to get a little something going. We got Sean 951. We got William Bennett. And we got that Niner guy who is now, look, it's getting dusk in there. Now we just get a little taste of it. The lighting is very, that's borderline not safe for work. You're getting seductive lighting there, that Niner guy. So you got to be careful there. But otherwise, I think we've got the round table. What was that, Niner guy?
Hey, what's up, fellas?
That's the only thing I know how to bring is that seductive lighting. It's my definite input to the show right there.
I love it. It's a significant contribution. I absolutely love it. All right, I'm going to scroll through because I want to get in some of the comments that I had seen earlier because I thought that we had a couple of good conversation pieces in there, but we shall see. It could take me a little while here to find those. Here we go. Here's a hypothetical. Keithy7. Hypothetical. Niners and Raiders trade Armstead and Jimmy G and one or two mid or late round 2023 picks for Derek Carr and Max Crosby. Anyone think they would bite or a pipe dream? I got to say, I don't think they would bite. I don't think I would do that trade. I'm not a big Derek Carr fan. That feels like sort of a sideways move to me. I love the Max Crosby edition. If you could pin him opposite of Bosa, that seems like a winning pairing. But Keithy7, I got to say, I'm probably passing on that. And my guess is that the Raiders would as well. That Niner guy, you want to kick us off on that one?
Yeah, it's the same situation we were in last year, right? I mean, there's no change, right? Derek Carr and Jimmy Garoppolo, like if you asked to pull random NFL people, Carr would be ahead of them, but like of top quarterbacks and a full list out, Carr would be ahead of him, but not by much. So you're in the kind of same spot, and you're picking up Derek Carr. He's got 1 year left on his deal, so you're gonna get a comp pick for him because he'll get a nice contract. I understand the Max Crosby thing. I mean, hey, I love that, but that's also a little bit of low value for the Raiders, so they probably would say no.
I would think so. William Bennett, what are you thinking about this hypothetical?
I'm in consensus. Yeah, it's a no for me. I really don't see the reward out of that. I mean, except Max Crosby, that would be a great addition. But Derek Carr, I mean, you might as well keep Jimmy. I mean, he's a little better than Jimmy, but Jimmy knows the system. Derek Carr, to me, if you got him, it's going to take him a year or two to even get the system down. So I just don't see it.
That makes sense. It does take a while to get the Shanahan system, no question about it. Sean 951, what are you thinking?
Yeah, no, good job, William. That's exactly the fact. Shanahan's not going to bring in a quarterback that doesn't know his system, or we're in trouble for the entire year. It's just the way it works with him. That's why the only options we have is Trey Lance because he knows it for a year, Jimmy G because he's known it for 4.5, or I know that Niner guy is going to laugh because he said it earlier that no way, shape, or form. But Aaron Rodgers has been in Shanahan's system for 3 years with 2 MVPs. So when it comes to who's going to be quarterbacking, you have to be in the system. He's not going to just bring an outsider in and try to teach a playbook, or our faithful is going to go ham on not keeping Trey Lance and playing Trey Lance. So to me, no, it's a pipe dream. Crosby, I'll take Crosby, but he was just in the Pro Bowl. He's going to be expensive. I know giving up Armstead moves $20 million, but that's just going to go to Bosa. So
yeah,
no.
That's fair. And I do think that to me, it's the timing of everything that makes it even less likely around. I know that we're not talking about Tom Brady, but just in bringing in Tom Brady, I just have to say that it's the fact that he can't get cut until after June 2nd, that he can't get traded until after June 2nd. And so the timing of that seems suspect. I know Mike Florio has indicated that he might, come in for week 1, but to me, that just seems suspect. And I think the same trouble is with this one. By the way, Luke Luna just joined below. Luke, I'm going to try to add you. I don't know if we can go 5 on a roundtable, but we're about to find out if we can. Luke, I'm bringing
5.
you in. We got 5.
Whoa.
Luke, what's up, man? How you doing?
What up?
How's it?
So I can't close one of my browsers, so there's like a echo. So
Oh, do you want me to kick you out so you can come back in? I know you're tattooing right now. I can see you got the gloves on. Look at that. Oh, man. Dude, that is epic.
Yeah.
That's epic. Oh, man. If you want to call back in, I'll try to get you back on. But otherwise, for the echo.
I tried to lift up my thing. It won't let me close it. So.
Bummer. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you sharing the live tattoo anyway.
That was awesome.
That's epic to me that somebody's there listening to me ramble on about the Niners and stenciling somebody's tattoo, and then we get to see it live like that. All right, we'll bring in the next question here, and this is along the same vein. And people talk about, oh man, you can't still be talking about the quarterback situation. Talking about it because everybody's asking about it. But this question comes in. This one is a little interesting to me because of the fact, I'm prefacing it by saying that it seems that the Packers are applying more pressure to Aaron Rodgers again. That to me, it seems likely he plays out another freaking year in Green Bay. But Ricardo brings up a great point that after this year, he will actually be a free agent. Says at Rob Schuh, what if Aaron Rodgers walks away from Green Bay next year and wants to play with the 49ers? Thoughts? So I'll start here, but then I got to get Sean 951 going first on that one because I know this is, close to something that you believe might happen for the 49ers. To me, at that point, it may be too late because if you don't get Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady this year, there's no one else that you're starting above Trey Lance, in my opinion. And I get why people are even offended at the idea of bringing in one of those two because there are many folks that just want to move on to Trey Lance. I am very excited for Trey Lance. Once you've committed to him, to me, it's game over. Now you find out what you have there, and the only way you're moving on is if it's a negative experience, but I don't anticipate that being the case. Sean, how do you feel about this hypothetical?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I mean, it's Lance. For me, it's Lance or Rodgers. There's no Jimmy G. There's no other quarterbacks. It's Lance. If nothing pans out, we rolled Lance. If they can, my opinion, of course, like you said, I've been saying this for months, by the way. This isn't since the season ended.
Yeah, no, you've been talking about this and have good logic behind it, right? It's not completely unsubstantiated.
So you mentioned earlier that Niner guy about his contract, the cap hit. That wouldn't be a cap hit on our team because Aaron Rodgers isn't coming over to play 1 year. He's going to come over, sign a 3-year deal. It's going to be completely restructured and changed. And it's so that's out. That doesn't matter. So to me, all logic, if I'm Rodgers, I play for Shanahan. I'm in the same system. I've won 2 MVPs. They've got a great team, and I can go win with the 49ers, which I would love to do. I can build my legacy. I'm now up there with my favorite quarterback of all time, Joe Montana. That's the reason why Brady's not coming over, because there's no damn way the 49ers are going to let Brady come to the 49ers, win a Super Bowl, have that Montana mystique over. Like, Montana's not the greatest of all time. That's over. He won in San Francisco and has 8 rings. Done. Brady's at 0%. Like, he's out. Like, they got to kill that. Florio needs to kill that whole combo. But Rodgers, I'm telling you right now, there's obviously he can retire. That's different. I can't predict that. But if Green Bay, all he has to tell Green Bay is, I ain't playing this year. You can suck that $40 million. I'm out. I ain't gonna play. It is what it is. You get it. They have, just like you mentioned about Jimmy G, that Niner guy, they got to make a decision, because they ain't gonna sit with $46 million this year against that cap, or they are going to suck next year with Jordan Love. So they have to move him if he wants to be moved. If the 49ers can give them enough to get him over, Green Bay is going to have to do it. They're not going to want to, because it's the NFC. They're not going to have a choice. He ain't going to Denver. He's not going to go and learn that system and play in the freaking cold the whole time. He's not going to do that. He wants to come to San Francisco, or he's going to stay Green Bay, or he's going to retire. He ain't going to be on any other team next year.
I like that case that you're making. I still don't buy it, but I like the case that you're making. William, what are you thinking about it?
My thoughts about that, and I was listening to Sean, and my whole thing on it is next year would be way too late. It would just be too late. How are you gonna start Trey Lance a year and then tell him sit down a year for Aaron Rodgers? Also, like I said, the mindset that Aaron Rodgers just in, I'm just not sure on him. I believe if I don't know where his mind will be next year, but this year, right now in this offseason, I don't know what kind of person Aaron Rodgers is. He's honestly, throughout the season, he seemed to be a totally different person than we've seen in previous years. I think bringing him to the Niners right now would cause more of a locker room, more of a problem in the organization, because of whatever it seems like he's going through than we can handle right now trying to win us a Super Bowl. Yes, I love the talent, but his me attitude right now, I think, is just kind of a detriment. And I think we would have to give up too much to get him here. We good what we got. We need to just build, just strengthen our backups and roll with what we got. Honestly, to be honest, if Jimmy Garoppolo could have beat Aaron Rodgers that first game, what was that, game 3?
Week 3 of the regular season.
Because it was the defense that lost that game. It wasn't even Jimmy. Jimmy got down there and scored.
It's true.
If Jimmy can do that, I have no doubt that Trey Lance, by the end of the season, can beat Aaron Rodgers. I know a lot of people are shocked by that, but with the weapons and the way that kid tends to pick up the game and the speed of the game, but if he got a whole year, I'm telling you, by week 7, week 8, if everybody's healthy, Trey Lance can beat most quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
I'm definitely high on Trey. We got to transition a little bit because I have a hard out that unfortunately is coming up in 5 minutes. And we got a couple of super chats. But LA Blue 49 coming in without living in a fantasy world and without trading Trey Lance. I'm curious what Sean 951 would offer Green Bay with players and picks to make the A-Rod trade. Do you have a short answer to that one, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, in this case, it would be flipped. I think Green Bay would create that to the 49ers because they know the 49ers want them. But if it was me and it's fantasy world, you can have, well, again, it's fantasy world. So nobody can, this is just fantasy.
Yeah, no. Go.
It's my fantasy, right?
Right.
So you can have Jimmy G and Trey Lance because they don't believe in Jordan Love. And whoever doesn't make it there, you just cut them. Okay? Or get rid of them. And I'd just go ahead and give them whatever they want after that for a pick. You want a first-round pick in 3 years from now? Have that first-round pick. If you don't, then what do you want? A couple 2s? I don't care because at the end of the day, I know people don't like Aaron Rodgers' attitude and such, but again,
Sure.
go back to 4 weeks ago. He's been in the same job for 17 years. I can tell you right now, I haven't. I'm sick of my employer after about 4. So the fact that he's gonna come, and I'm just being honest. I mean, at that point,
no, that's facts right there. That's 3 years longer than I give an employer before I'm sick of them.
I definitely feel that.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm in business. Like, I feel as soon as I master what I master, like I feel more important than the guy above me. But anyway, so with Aaron Rodgers coming over, it's a renewed everything for him. He doesn't need to be the Aaron Rodgers of Green Bay. He just needs to be the damn quarterback. And it doesn't matter that he broke up with his chick and all that. Whoopie freaking do. Last offseason was a nightmare too, right? He's not ready. He's out in Hawaii. And what does he do? He gets beat 38-3 in his first game, tells everyone to relax. It's 1, reels off 9 straight and goes number 1 seed. So I want the number 1 seed too. So to me, I don't really care. Like, we need a Super Bowl. Shanahan and them, if they miss on Lance, like, he better be good next year. If they miss on him, it's done. Like, those guys are out in 2 years. I'm telling you, they better have gotten it right. They better. That
Niner guy has come back in, but it's just pitch black at this point. You cannot see anything in that car right now. Hey, we're coming to the close of this because I got an appointment at 6:30 here in Portland that I got to jet to. But we got one more super chat I'm going to bring in, and I want everybody to hit it quick. Well, first, we're bringing in 49ers first take. Aaron just putting it in, the compliment, the GOAT, Rob Schuh, killing it like usual. I appreciate that, Aaron. You are a good dude with good content over there on the channel. Always enjoy collaborating. But this one, Gizmo Maltese coming in. Trey didn't seem as mobile as he looked in college. He tries to run over players, but it's not working in the NFL. What's going on, and can it be fixed? I saw this as well, Gizmo, and I do think it's an adjustment in coming from North Dakota State to the NFL. The size and speed of defensive linemen and linebackers in the NFL is something Trey will need to adjust to. I don't think he will have the same level of run dominance in power run schemes. I think his legs have to be the secondary weapon for him. But once the speed of the game slows down, he will be able to attack defenses in a different way that I don't think we saw this year. So that would be my take on it. Sean, if you can do it succinctly, what's your take on Trey and not looking quite as powerful as a runner?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a couple things. I mean, number one, he hasn't played a lot, right? So he only had the game against the Cardinals before he played against Houston. The game against the Cardinals was almost like he was just our running game. So at that point, when you go down on 4th and 1 and get smoked on the goal line by a couple defenders, you start to realize, dang, Shanahan's using me as a running back. I'm going to have to put on my big boy pads, and these linebackers, they're bigger than me. Yeah. So then when you go into the Houston game and he's running 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 plays off the edge, well, unfortunately, defensive coordinators are smarter in the NFL than they are. And when you're 4th and 1, you're bringing everybody on the line when you have Jimmy G as your quarterback. Now, if you had A-Rod on 4th and 1, maybe they wouldn't have cover 0 on the freaking 4th and 1 play. But either way, that was the whole thing. It was the defense scheming up, knowing that when Trey Lance was starting quarterback, he was running the ball 80% of the plays, whether it was him or handing it off for Debo or whoever. The odds are you're running it. Same reason, not to go too long here, but same reason the NFC Championship game, you brought it up earlier, I think, William, where you said the running game didn't work. It's because Jimmy G's your quarterback. So when it's 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 and 4th and 2 and 3rd and 2, you put everybody in the box. You put A-Rod or somebody competent back there, good luck seeing if that doesn't burn you for 7. It all goes back to the fear of the QB. If you don't fear the QB, you play defense differently.
Changes the game completely when you have somebody back there that you have to respect. All right, before William takes us home on his answer right here, I just want to say, if you enjoy the content, hit the like button, continue to contemplate subscribing to the channel and joining the Sneakerhead community, because we will be out after this. But William, I got to know, what do you think about this? What's your stance on Trey not looking quite as mobile as college? Does it improve this season?
I think it definitely improves. I think when Gizmo's seen what he's seen of Trey, that was just a rookie quarterback who hasn't played a lot of snaps, who was put in a game very unprepared. There was not really a game plan for him other than Trey, just go out there and just try to win the game. So, of course, he reverted to what he knows, which was college-style ball. Now that Jimmy will be gone and the offense will be set up around him, you will see a lot different decisions and play from Trey. All that trying to run people over and just trying to make a play with his feet. You're not gonna just see that. Trey's not Kyler Murray. He's not gonna just be taking off running because he can. He wants to throw the ball. So you will see a lot more of that.
I love it. I do think it will change completely once you have an offense that is built entirely for the young gentleman. And I am thrilled to see that he is a pocket passer first and foremost, and the run game complements it. I gotta tap out because it is that time. I appreciate both of you guys being in the roundtable. That Niner guy for being here as well, although he had connection issues that took him out. I will be back on Grant Cohn's channel tomorrow at 11. I will be back on my channel tomorrow at 3 p.m. with Jack Hammer. Gentlemen, always a pleasure having you on. I wish we could keep this thing going for longer and longer, but we can't. I got to bail. It is a phenomenal show as always, and you know the drill, Niner faithful. Until next time, cheers.